Hello, this is Craig from Bitzbox.co.uk. This video is a little Q&A video. So recently I posted on Facebook and Twitter just asking people if they had any questions for this video. I had a little bit of a response. Didn't have much of an organic reach thanks to Facebook being Facebook. But we did get a few questions in. So if you didn't see the posts asking for questions and you have questions you would like to ask, if you leave them in the comments below, I'll be sure to make a future video. If we get enough questions, you know, it'd be nice to do quite a few of these. If not, then it's just a little experiment, really. But I'll get started. There's a few questions, and I will start with the nicer ones. So, Chris asks, when does Bitzbox bother to update its stock? There's stuff that's been out of stock for 3 years now. Well, there isn't, because obviously recently the site was completely redesigned and all the stock was uploaded and in stock, available to buy on the day. So, you know, I spent almost 2 months getting that done, so I do bother. Obviously there has been stuff on the old site what wasn't restocked for ages, a lot for Forge World stuff, vehicles. With Forge World it's hard because there's so much stuff and I don't order it very often, and my budget is more on just the plastics. In terms of vehicles, they don't really make money, that's why I don't sell them no more. So they weren't restocked very often, so yeah, it might seem like stuff don't get restocked for 3 years, or if some stuff just gets restocked and sold out very quickly, then obviously if you miss that, you know, it's going to seem like it was never restocked. But I do bother to update the stock, so yeah, that's all I can really say about that. It is frustrating when there's stuff you really want and it's so hard to buy them. You know, stuff sells quicker than I can cut them off the sprues and buy them in, and etc. But I try my best and I hope to get better in the future at that. So, let's move on. Okay, so Lee asks, with the new site, is your restocking approach going to be tons of kits at once, or more of a trickle like before? I wouldn't say it was a trickle before, you know, I was trying to do a few £100 worth, or several £100 worth of stock a week. It does seem like a trickle because there's such a large variety of different sets that we stock, so obviously I can't get them all restocked at once. I have thought about just waiting a month and then having a massive restock, but the problem you get with that is you'll have a few days where you're just not getting many orders in, and then all of a sudden just get loads and you can't keep up with them. I found that with the that sort of happened with the sort of relaunch. You know, for a few weeks up to the relaunch I had so much time to get the site done, which is great. But then once it was up, there were just so many orders, which is great, absolutely fantastic. But it took me, you know, a good week and a half just to catch up with the backlog. And, you know, I want to try and get stuff out as quick as possible, so you get your orders as quick as possible. So it will probably be a trickle, as you say. I just want to try and keep on top of it more now, and hopefully I can do that. There will be more stuff restocked, but it will, at the moment, it's just sort of as and when. So as soon as I get some boxes cut up of sprue and put away, they're just I'll put them straight up on the site. So yeah, hopefully there'll be more stuff restocked, but it won't be like just loads at once and then you wait a month. Okay, so next question is from Kieran. Will you be expanding the Forge World section to include more stuff such as armour variants for Space Marines? The Forge World section will be expanded. I was hoping to do it a bit sooner than this, but as I said, I've been so busy with just tons of orders and other stuff. It will be expanded. Will it include armour variants? Well, there's rumours and photos of plastic Horus Heresy armour variants, or Mark IV at least. So I'm going to kind of wait for them, I think, because once they're out, the Forge World stuff probably won't be worth stocking, because it'll just be more expensive for exactly the same items, really. So I might just wait for them, but we'll see. If they're not out in a... well, certainly if they're not out by Christmas, then I'll definitely be expanding. I'll put the Forge World stuff on, but there'll be other stuff from Forge World appearing on site within the next few months, I'm sure. So look out for them. Aaron asks, where to get good paints, good prices? As I'm wanting to restart, and Citadel paints are expensive now. I asked this in Games Workshop Army Painters and got banned. Could you help? So yeah, the first paint range that pops into my mind is Vallejo Game Colour, as they're very similar colours to the GW range. I might have one here. They're in dropper bottles, which I prefer. This is Arctic Blue. I did buy the full Game Colour range as a set, but I don't use them that often actually. I still prefer Citadel paints, but the Vallejo ones are good. Just going off topic, if you like airbrushing, their model air range is fantastic. But yeah, I'd certainly recommend Game Colour. They're cheaper than GW, and you get 17mm in a dropper bottle, rather than the GW paints, which I believe are 12. Yeah, they're 12. So you actually get 5mm more paint, and it's cheaper. So yeah, Game Colour are the one. They do have model colour as well, but the colours are sort of more drab and less sort of vibrant. They're more into sort of historical military colours, whereas these are more just what you expect from Citadel. So yeah, Vallejo Game Colour. And where to get them? There's several places online. Most of the big stores such as Wayland, etc., they'll have them. So if you do a Google search for them, I'm sure you'll find them. Okay, Kaz asks, why are you so damn attractive, Craig? Well, thank you, Gaz, but maybe you should have gone to Specsavers. I know Gaz personally, so it's not just some creepy comment, although, you know, it's a bit. But Gaz does have a serious question. So he says, okay chap, serious question. And this is a really good question. On your website, why is the price of a normal Space Marine Terminator parts more expensive than the Deathwing Command Squad parts? For instance, the assault cannons and Cyclone missile launchers are drastically priced differently for blandness over the fine casts of Deathwing weaponry, when they serve the exact same purpose. Now there is a reason for this. Yes, they are more detailed and they look far superior, I agree, but they're only really useful if you are a Deathwing player, because they've got all the Deathwing and Dark Angels icons on them. So if you collect any other chapter, they're pretty useless, and that's why the bland ones are a bit more expensive. That's mainly due because they are more popular. It's not that I just think more people. How do I word it? It's like, yeah, I mean it's because they're more popular and more people want them. And it's not a case that I've raised the prices because more people want them. It's actually the other way around. The Deathwing ones had their prices lowered because they were less popular. So that's the reason why. You'll find out with other parts as well, I'm sure. But yeah, when I did the redesign of the site, I did lower a lot of prices of the less popular items, and these would no doubt have been some of them. So that's why they're cheaper, just because they don't sell as well, and that's sort of an incentive for people to buy them. Of course, some people can buy them and just file off the icons, so you know, you might as well, if you have to do more work, you might as well pay less money to do so. Sam asks, favourite army in both Fantasy and 40k? Chaos. I am a Chaos man. When I started the hobby way back when, sort of 3rd edition of 40k, I started off with a metal box of 5 Terminators and a metal box of 7 Chaos Space Marines. I don't know why it was 7. And that was the start really. I was just hooked on Chaos Space Marines, and I got a big army, which when I got to college I sold because I got out of the hobby, and then when I got back into the hobby I just got more Chaos, and now I just have a massive Chaos Space Marine army. I was never really massively into Fantasy, but now Age of Sigmar's out, I'm starting to get into it. Still Chaos though, Warriors of Chaos, just, you know, they're great. Well, I am quite partial to the Dark Elves as well, I just think the models are beautiful. But yeah, just Chaos are just, they are, you know, everyone sort of has that one army what they really associate themselves with, and for me it's Chaos Space Marines, or just Warriors of Chaos. Okay, so Harry asks, what is your opinion of the new Age of Sigmar franchise? Would you say that players approve of it more than Warhammer Fantasy? Well, I did do a video on my initial thoughts, and I've played a few games since, and you know, the rules are simple, easy to pick up, but I've only played a few games. I'm sure the more I play it, the more we'll find things that will either break the game or just seem weird, or stuff we won't know the answer to. So, you know, it can be oversimplified, and I think it might be at this current stage. I think it has so much potential. It really does. Yeah, it's great for new people to get into a game. You know, I never really played Fantasy, but Age of Sigmar I just jumped straight in, and that's great. I love the models. If they keep releasing new models like that, it'd be great. I think they're much better on round bases. But do I think more players approve of it more than Fantasy? No, I not at this stage. I think give it a few years, maybe, but not right now. If anyone who is big into Warhammer Fantasy probably hates it, and I wouldn't blame them. But I do understand why GW have done it, and it has got more people into the game. I think, especially 40k players can just jump straight into it. And, you know, if it gets them more players, and then they can expand it and get it to more like what Fantasy used to be, but with like an easier rule set to get into, I think they're onto a winner. But it's going to be a long time before we really know the answer. Brian asks, is it inappropriate to German suplex a player through the game table for one that tables you on turn 1 before you get your turn 1? So, correct me if I'm wrong, that's like a wrestling move or something, isn't it? Yes, it's always inappropriate to do that to anyone, regardless of circumstances, really. I wouldn't recommend it. Although if you do get tabled on turn 1 before your turn 1, yeah, that's frustrating. I would probably not play that player again if they're going to use that same list. They're obviously quite a power gamer, or they've just had really, really good dice, but even then, yeah, to actually be tabled on turn 1 before you get your turn 1, ouch. Yeah, just suppress the rage and take it out on something else, maybe. Like, I mean like a video game, I don't mean like another person. Just, yeah. Okay, lastly, I did get a question on Twitter. This is from Ekoi, or Ekoi, I hope I pronounced that right. What is your favourite kind of lizard? I would say maybe a chameleon, because, you know, they just look quite cool. If you ever seen them sort of like, the way they sort of climb on branches and stuff, it's quite cool, and they have them big sticky out eyes. Yeah, I quite like them. I'm not really a massive sort of lizard fan, I find them a bit boring, but, you know, chameleon's quite cool. Okay, so that was first Q&A video. It might be the only, it depends if anyone has any other questions, but if you do, just leave them in the comments below, I'll get to all of them. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again.